Ladies and gentlemen, what's going on? Welcome back to the Betting Talk. Today we got episode 11, which is UFC Fight Night Cannonier versus Rodriguez, which is taking place tomorrow, Saturday the 15th of February 2025. It's actually a lot better of a card than it is last week. Next week's card is a lot better than this week's. That's Henry Cejudo versus Song Yadong, I believe, at bantamweight. And this is an absolute fantastic card. We're going to get right into it with my best bets. We're going to be looking at the best bets, the props, the parlays, and anything in between that I like for this weekend. The betting talk is something I usually do where I just kind of talk about whatever I like for the weekends for the bets. I was going to talk some NBA too, but unfortunately there isn't really any NBA going on. I've been hitting a lot of underdogs recently. I've been doing a lot of just a little bit in-depth looks at some of these teams. Again, so a lot of this is luck. It's not like it's fucking some big skill thing where you're looking into these teams. It's a lot of luck, but it's a lot of statistics as well. And I've been able to cash out some underdogs recently. Might be putting those up, but we'll see. Let's just move on right into the best bets. We're going to go through my 4 best bets to start, and then we're going to give my lock of the week. Usually my best bets are in the thumbnail already, but let's just start it off right away. So, number 1, we have Walter Walker versus Dontel Mays. I think over 2.5 is locked up on this fight. I just don't see Dontel Mays getting submitted or knocked out by Walter Walker, and I think Dontel Mays himself as an underdog is a huge pick here. Sitting at a plus 200, I think he's undervalued, probably because of his losses being to like half decent competition. But you got to remember, like Walter Walker's biggest win on his record is Junior Tafa, and he lost to Lucas Bresky, who doesn't even have a chance in the UFC realistically. I would not be surprised if Dontel Mays proves him otherwise. Next on the best bets, we also have where is he here? Did his fight get postponed? No, there it is. Vince Morales versus Elijah Smith. We're taking Vince Morales as a plus 120. He opened the fight line at a plus 200. I think his veterinarian experience is going to be proved to be a little bit too much for Elijah Smith, who didn't seem to get a finish against Aaron Tao in the Contender Series. Tao being a little bit overconfident in his striking, swinging a little bit wild. Both these guys being big power punchers, and you didn't really see the knockout blows coming from either man. You saw a wild fight. You saw a good fight. You saw Elijah Smith win a decision, but he does have a loss to Reyes Cortez, who was in the UFC at one point. Or not UFC, excuse me, or Contender Series twice, lost to Christian Rodriguez and Peyton Talbot, 2 devastating prospects, only losing by decision. Very, very good. He most likely will make his way back to the UFC at some point. It's just the KO was kind of bad, and Elijah just kind of seems to get a little bit exhausted later on inside of his fights, and he's fighting a guy who only loses to top contenders, and meanwhile, top contenders who can't finish him. The only guy being Chris Gutierrez via leg kicks back in 2020 during the bubble. But I don't really count that anymore. It's 4 years ago. I think Vince Morales is going to overwhelm Elijah Smith in all aspects of the game, man. His grappling is a little bit too much, I think, for Elijah Smith. And I think when it comes down to it, when we start getting a little bit exhausted on the feet, Elijah starts winging a little bit wild. And I think Vince might be able to clip him or submit him and hop on his back. We're going to move on. Honorable mention here, Jesus Aguilar versus Rafael Estevam. I'm taking Jesus here as a plus 360. A little bit wild in my experience, seeing as Jesus is coming on, being an underdog in all of his fights, except for the fight against Shannon Ross, which, I mean, he shouldn't have been an underdog, obviously. Tetsuo Tara got him. Having a great streak right now, though, at 125. I think he's going to be able to overwhelm Estevam, a guy who's 12-0 and just feels like he can walk over the world right now. Third on the best bets, we're going Jose Delgado by knockout, inside distance. Connor Matthews is no match for this guy. He's just too crisp on the feet. He's got too much to work with, and Connor Matthews is just undersized at this point. He's fighting a guy who's 5'11", 3 inches up, 2 inches in reach. He's fighting at the MMA lab. Jose Delgado is just going to figure it out. He's just going to put Connor Matthews out. I think he's going to end it early. I think Connor Matthews is going to have a big fucking problem. Dennis Brzezinski was able to take him out inside of the 3 rounds with ground and pound, or left hook, excuse me, to ground and pound hammer fist. And I think Jose Delgado is going to be able to figure out even faster. Now, we're going to go into the 4th best bet of the evening. which is Rodolfo Vieira versus Andre Petroski. We're taking Rodolfo Vieira to finish this fight inside the distance via submission. I think his grappling experience is too much for Andre Petroski. Rodolfo Vieira is literally nicknamed the Black Belt Hunter. Anytime you think he's not going to get a submission on a guy because you think they're too even in the grappling, Rodolfo Vieira figures it out. He has been in the UFC for a long time. He's been in the UFC since 2019. He's been choking dudes out forever. He's only lost to Fluffy and Curtis. Curtis took him to a decision, just didn't engage in the grappling as much, just got beat up on the feet. Now listen, he took out Armin Petrosian, Cody Brundage, Dustin Saltzfuss. Andre Petroski is a much lesser man than those men, to be completely fair. Andre Petroski got knocked out by his own fucking dumbassery. He got knocked out by Jacob Malkoon's fucking hip, okay? I think Rodolfo Vieira submits him quick. Now we're going to go to some props that I really, really like for this weekend. Again, usually I have this a little bit better with the editing and stuff. I'm not doing it this week. I got something planned for next week. We're going to try and introduce some highlight reels from the stream and just post the reactions every single week, starting on Wednesday, I think. We'll do the editing process on Wednesday for the betting talk on Thursday. The problem being, the reason why some of these betting talks get a little bit delayed is because the props don't properly come out till Thursday morning, because they don't let you bet Wednesday because they're not sure about the weigh-ins and stuff. They have to see the weigh-ins. They have to see the fighters at the weigh-ins in order to open the prop lines, in order to not like refund as much money and stuff for those parlays and shit, which I understand. So that's why we do it a little bit later. Again, we're going to start the props over to, let's just check it out on Bet365 real quick, which is the betting app that we use here in Canada, seeing as it's a little bit better than anything else you can find. Let's see here. Don't Tell Me is Volta Walker over 2.5 rounds, sitting at -175. Take that all day. That is a huge line for you. I don't know why you wouldn't take that, seeing as I think these guys can go the distance. I think these big boys are going to be just winging shots at each other. They're going to get exhausted inside that second round. We're going to just see Walker and Mays just glide to a long decision. Now we have Chaos Williams, Gabriel Bonfim, under 2.5 rounds, -150. I don't mind this. Chaos Williams is devastating in the striking. Gabriel Bonfim able to clinch up submissions from almost anywhere. He's just kind of nasty with it. He looks really good inside the UFC, only being knocked out by Nicholas Dalby so far in his career, and that was just because Dalby was absolutely piecing him up. The cardio of Nicholas Dalby, absolutely unreal for a 40-year-old, absolute Viking. We also have, where is it? Vince Morales, Elijah Smith. Vince Morales by submission, +650. Check your fucking odds. +1200 by knockout. Vince Morales is devastating. I'd be very, very careful. Elijah Smith getting a little bit wild in the striking. He's down 2 rounds inside that third round, trying to open up a little bit, and opens too much for Vince Morales. He gets clipped. Listen, this is the old gloves, man. We bang on these. We bang. Jesus Aguilar, +350 on the line, +1000 submission. I love it. His guillotine's nasty. Esteban can easily glide into it, thinking he's overconfident. Under 2.5 rounds, -120. I don't mind it. Not to go the distance, -140. Even better. Take that. Andre Petroski, Rodolfo Vieira. Rodolfo Vieira by submission. I think he's your best bet here. +150. -180 to go to the distance. Take that all day. Calvin Kattar versus Yusuf Salal. I like Calvin Kattar by knockout. Check your shit. Yusuf Salal might get fraud checked here. He's had some nice... Now listen, maybe not a fraud check. Calvin Kattar is not as bad as you think he is. He's bad against grapplers. This is not a grappler. We're going to see the last testament to Calvin Kattar in his career. If he holds on to this rank 10, it's a huge moment in his career. I think he's going to get the knockout if he wants it. Yusuf Zalal by submissions, also not too bad, but I don't think Calvin Kattar gets submitted. If Aljamain Sterling's not getting a submission on Calvin Kattar, you can bet your sweet ass that you're not seeing Yusuf Zalal get it, more than likely. Evan Shabazi and Dylan Booker not to go the distance, -220. Now listen, if we get out of the first round, Dylan Booker is probably going to win the fight. Realistically, it's probably what's going to happen. You're going to see Dylan Booker just have a boring wrestling fight and just take him to a long decision. Now, I don't mind that from Dylan, but Edmund Shabazian by knockout, +130. It's not a good enough line, I don't think. I did bet it a little bit, but it's not really that great of a line. Round 1's probably better than anything. That's what, +200 for either guy, or Edmund +240. You could take that. Jared Cannonier, Gregory Rodriguez. I like Gregory Rodriguez by submission or knockout, -160. put it in your tickets. Jared Cannonier's a little bit washed, a little bit old, going to lose his ranking to Gregory Rodriguez, who's looking like he's 50, but he's 30, coming into his absolute prime right now at this point in his career, just tanking every shot and walking through everyone. That's all I really like for this weekend, guys. There's not a whole lot more to talk about. Angela Hill, I love this weekend as well. I love her. She's 40 years old, though, so it's hard for me to pick her as a lock this week. She also loses a lot of close decisions, which I feel like should go her way, but the judges don't really see it that way. Fair enough, I guess. But she gets fucked over quite a bit. I just think, those 4 picks that I had, Vincent Morales, Don'Tale Mayes, and Walter Walker over 2.5, or Don'Tale Mayes if you want to take that. Honorable mention, Jesus Aguilar. Jose Delgado by knockout, inside distance. And then you have, what was it here? Rodolfo Vieira and Andre Petroski. Rodolfo Vieira to win. Yeah, it's just huge. By submission as well. I think it's just too easy for Rodolfo Vieira in that situation against Petroski. And then you also have Ismail Bonfim, Nazim Sadikov. I like Sadikov there, plus 187. Bonfim brothers are looking a little bit dusty when it comes to bigger competition, and I guess we're going to be proven wrong or right this Saturday night. Hopefully you guys did enjoy this. I will see you guys on Saturday's live stream with Jacob. We will be live at 4 p.m. to start off the prelims. We are going through the whole card. We will be watching the entire card, live companion, Saturday starting at 4. I'll see you guys all later. Hope you guys did enjoy this. Make sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. I'll talk to you all later. Peace.